Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Player's Stake, episode 127. I'm your host, Justin DeSimone, joined by my co-host. He's tired of multiplayer toxicity, Montrell Rice.
Yep,
How's it going,
I
man?
might have to take a. I'm doing fine. Might have to take a break and go back to single player for a minute.
Yeah. I mean, what's
The
happening?
problem.
What are the kids doing to you, man? What are they doing to you?
So Apex has this issue. So I'm in an issue with Apex where I play with you guys, and
Yeah.
I don't know why, but we get like predators and master rank people and stuff like that. So I'm
Yeah.
used to playing with your style, and I'm actually like I think last night or night before last rather. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
which one it was. It was last night. I think I was actually keeping up with you guys as far as like kill and damage wise and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't having any issues there. The problem is when I go solo by myself, they put me back into like the lower tier stuff.
Baby ass
So
baby mode.
yeah, so a lot of people don't play as aggressive as me, and I can get like 8 kills, and like one team just wipes me because either my team stays back and they don't know how to use their legends alts,
Yeah.
or I've had a lot where people just randomly disconnect, and I don't know what's up with that, but
Uh-huh.
it just happens. Or like when I play arena, like the same thing will happen where if I'm playing with your snakes, I can probably get like 1, 2, or maybe 3 kills with some good damage, like 1,500 in damage or something like that. But when I play by myself, I'm still playing with like because my account is still new, so they put me with newer players, and I'm going like I get like 10 kills or something like that in arena, or I exaggerate, maybe like 8 or 9 kills in arena,
Mm-hmm.
and like my team would just stay back, and some people would just straight up quit. Um, so then there's this new, and then League of Legends. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I'm playing jungle. I'm back in jungle lane again, and either I'm going to get Smurfs, like people who are like legitimate fucking diamond tier players, and they're playing in low elo, and I'm going against them in jungle, or my team is just super oblivious to what the fuck is going on in jungle.
Mm-hmm.
Like the last couple of weeks I've been having good jungle games, and then I come back and everyone's just stupid. And I'm trying to blame my teammates or whatever, but it's just so hard when you're telling them they have when they see a Shaco on the other team, and you know a Shaco's on the field, buy control wards. Stealth in lower elos is so fucking broken because people really do not know how to buy control wards.
Mm-hmm.
And the enemy Shaco or Evelyn can end up going 20-5 because people just refuses to buy control wards and or pink wards if you're an older league player. So it's just really frustrating to play against because no matter how many you ping, no matter time you counter jungle or you counter gank, you try to tell them like, hey, he's probably going to be right here, and then 2 seconds later he does show up there. They just don't listen. So it's getting frustrating. And then today I was trying to play, and both my games today I played, the new champion came out, and people were playing the new champion in ranked, and I hate that. I think Riot should, and both times those people end up going 0-5, 0-10, or whatever, because this is a new champion. No one knows how to play this champion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and people will say like, oh, well, in the PBE, which is like the test servers, they release the champions on before they put them in the live servers. I played them for 2 weeks in the PBE and blah 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 blah. I don't care. I think Riot should implement some type of system where you cannot play that champion for a week in ranked at all. Like it's norms only, pubs only. You cannot play it in ranked because I think it's very toxic to the players, to
Mm-hmm.
the other team, the other players on the team. It's trolling because we don't care. First of all, your account doesn't reflect that you played 200 matches on this champion that just got released today on live servers. It doesn't reflect that because it's on the test servers. So we don't know. Second off, a lot of players don't have access to PBE. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so when you play these champions, we don't know how to play around them. Only thing that we know is the research that we, or the the screenshots they showed us, or the little blurbs of how the champion works and things of that nature. I just think it's really insanely toxic for people to pick champions first day on release and go into ranked.
Man, they'll never make that change, though. It's a good idea. They'll never do it, though. You want to know why? Because of them skin sales, boy. They want to sell
Yeah,
the
you're right.
character, then they want to sell the skins that come out with the character, and they're not gonna restrict the ability to play the character in any mode because they know people are gonna want to show those skins off in ranked, man, whether they're playing well or not, So they'll never do that. But with
Yeah,
it,
I know.
yeah,
It's just very frustrating. It's super toxic, and they're all about, oh, we want to we're trying to promote the end of toxicity, and it's like, but that's toxic within itself. Like, it's just
yeah,
so toxic to me. I don't know. And I play with against that champion. When I played with that champion today, um, I got super frustrated because there was a Vayne bot lane that just utterly destroyed the new champion. She was already 5-0. And if you guys know a Vayne player, if they get any inkling of like damage or carry, that's the game because Vayne is just fucking broken late game. But if they get it early game, if they get their late game spike early game, that's game because Vayne is just insanely broken with the true damage she has on her. So I don't know. It was just very frustrating today. Multiplayer has been frustrating me all week. But the only other conundrum I'm having is there aren't any other single player games that are like really like, hey, come play me.
mm-hmm.
I don't feel like playing Returnal. I don't feel like playing Near Replicant. For some reason, I just been really turned off of Near lately. I do not feel like playing that
Yeah,
game
me too.
at all.
I know what you mean.
Um,
I'm in the same
uh,
boat, and
yeah,
yeah,
I've tried to play Neo too, and I played it for like maybe 2 or 3 hours, and I'm just like, nah, I don't feel like playing this either. So I don't, I don't know what's going on. It's just maybe I need a new genre of games to play, and
or
I just
maybe you
don't
just need a
know.
break, man. Just read some books or go
Yeah,
watch some TV or something. Like
yeah,
gaming can get gaming fatigue happens. This happened to me during the period of this show that we've been doing this show, where it's just like you don't want to play anything. I maybe you're in that spot. I don't know. I mean, um, I'm kind of in the same boat with single player games, and I haven't played a single player game in like 2 months, probably. I think it was May
mhm,
was like the last time I played anything. I was playing Mass Effect 2, and I just kind of dropped that at this point, and I haven't played anything really. I've been playing MMOs and Apex, and um, it's like there's nothing drawing me back to single player right now. There's a game. I think is probably the next game I may peel off for, but that's in September, so that's still like a month and a half away. And everything else, I'm really just kind of I don't know. I'm not super excited about anything right now. I don't know. I mean, it's just a weird time, man. It's a weird time. I mean, we're both stressed out in our real lives as well. And I think that is kind of dragging into our gaming time because I know for a fact when I get stressed out, I kind of go into this like bubble where I don't want to play a lot of different games. I really just want to come home and do something like familiar,
yeah,
that I can like just slot into and not really think too much about. So that's kind of what I've been doing. And it, I'm to be honest, I think I've been doing that for most of this year, to be frank. Because in terms of, I was like thinking about like game of the year list for this year, and because we usually do 5 games, and I'm like sitting here thinking to myself, am I even going to play 5 new games that I could put on the list by the time December, January rolls around? And at this point, the answer is no. I think I have like 2 games, maybe. So I don't know. It's a weird year, man. I mean, we just had a new consoles release, and there's just nothing coming out for them.
yeah. We keep
Um,
getting remasters and stuff, and I like remasters, but it's just like,
yeah,
man,
dude. Sony and Microsoft are doing a bad job, in my opinion. They are not selling these consoles, even though they're selling them, literally selling them, in droves. In terms of pushing them with software, they're doing a terrible job of that. There's no reason from a software perspective to own either of these consoles. Like there's no exclusives, and even the ones that are out, like Returnal, that's not a widely appealing game to most gamers. Ratchet and Clank's probably the one that I would point to that maybe is like kind of a big, but is that a console seller? Not really. That's not like a God of War or Last of Us type game. from them. But
somebody did tweet that out a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it was at the beginning of this week, I think. And someone said like, "Hey, like, wow, this my friend bought a PS5 just for it to be sitting in the corner." And a lot of people were responding to that tweet saying, "Just say you don't have a PS5 or you're a PS5 hater or whatever the case may be." And I was like, "No, he's right. I just started playing my PS5. My PS5 was collecting dust
for Apex, though, you're not even playing it for a new game. You're playing it for
yeah,
Apex.
exactly.
It's like it's and for me, I'm playing it for Final Fantasy 14. That's the only thing I'm playing on it at this point. I'm on my PC more right now, and so I think we're just in a weird moment where like gaming's kind of stagnant right now, and like you said, it's a lot of remasters, re-releases. We're getting games like Sony's starting to re-release PS4 games on PS5 and charge us $10 for it. It's like, it's like ugly right now, man. I don't feel I don't feel the love from the industry at the moment. I'm a gamer. I love gaming. Obviously, we do this podcast every week. We love games, but I think the industry is just in like kind of a bad spot right now. We're going to be like drowning in video games next year. I feel like, or maybe like later next year, we're going to be drowning in games. But yeah, this year so far has been a complete, like, just drag for the most part, most of it. And I kind of appreciate it in one way, 'cause it's allowing me to do things I normally wouldn't do, like play MMOs, deeply play a couple MMOs. But at the same time, I like the idea of a new game, like an exciting new game is missing. It's been missing for a while. I'm trying to think of what was the last game I bought, new. I guess Monster Hunter Rise, but that was largely a disappointment for us. And then before that,
yeah, and it's even hard for me to go. I want to play that game, but it's hard for me to go back to that game because I feel like it's so incomplete. Even though they probably have released a ton of content since then, since the last time me and you played, but it's I still feel like it's incomplete unless I get and maybe this is just me as a veteran or an older gamer and let that shit go. Because I honestly don't believe they're gonna do a G rank this time.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I honestly think that. Just because I haven't heard anything, not even any kind of leaks or anything from it.
Yeah, I kind of disagree with you because it was the same way with World. World was like that.
Okay.
We didn't start hearing about G rank leaks for like a year after the game came out.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And yeah, so I think we could be in a similar boat here where we don't hear about it till much closer to actual release. So
yeah, it's just yeah, I just have no desire to play that. And that's the problem. I have a ton of games on my backlog, especially on my Switch.
Same.
That I have no desire to play, and I don't know why. It's not like they're bad games at all. It's just I am looking forward to like Tales of Arise. I do want to give what's the other game that just came out? Fucking the other anime game that just came out.
Monster Hunter Stories 2?
No, the one by Bandai.
Oh, fuck. Scarlet Nexus.
Yeah, I want to give that a chance too because it looks cool. But at the same sense, it's like, do I really want to give it a shot or do I feel like it?
No,
I don't know.
You probably don't, man.
It looks good, and it got like an 8 out of 10. A lot of people enjoy it, so I mean, I don't know.
I think I'm just Downers right now. This is
a
dark
dark
opening
episode
for the show, man.
This is a dark episode, man. I'm sorry,
dark times.
I mean, because this is going to
take.
Yeah, this is a heavy show actually, because we got more news later on that we have to talk about. That's going to, yeah. Only thing I'm excited for is one thing in there, but I guess we can get to it because I'm actually going to skip my segment of games I've been playing because that's literally it's been the same shit for the last week.
Well,
so.
Let me get through the rigmarole and then we'll get into the show proper.
All right.
All right. For those of you who haven't listened before, this is our weekly show where we talk about video games, video game news, and other topics pertaining to video games, and then our depression. We post at 6 a.m. Central Time on Fridays on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and your favorite podcast app of choice. And please send us questions to theplayerstake01@gmail.com or at the Players Take on Twitter, which we actually have a question that I forgot to grab before the show. So I'm going to do that while I continue talking here. And let's start like we always do with games we've been playing. Montrell's not going to talk about his because he's playing the same shit. And for the most part, I'm not really going to talk about mine either because it's the same shit. Apex, Ion, Final Fantasy 14. There's not much to say beyond that. I will say in the Ion front, I think I've hit a little bit of a wall there. I got a new weapon the other day and blew all my money trying to upgrade it, and all my upgrades failed. So I just wasted a shitload of money, and now I'm really poor, and I have an unupgraded weapon, and I'm just kind of pissed, to be honest. So that's where I'm at with that game, and but I'm gonna grind through it. I'm gonna get on tonight, make some money. Maybe try again or just accept my shitty weapon and move on, But all right, Montreal. Let us get into the news. And
Yes,
like you
sir.
alluded to, we're gonna start with a sobering piece of news. And it is Activision Blizzard. So the state of California has filed a lawsuit suing Blizzard, Activision Blizzard, for creating a environment of frat boy culture and harassment against women, and even some racial accusations as well, some racial discrimination accusations as well. And kind of the main overview here is that the state was doing an investigation into Activision Blizzard over the course of about 2 years and found huge amounts of evidence that there is a culture of, like I was saying, frat boy culture where, men doing gross men things, where they, the sex jokes, rape jokes, women being denied promotions because they're women, things along those lines, saying, "Oh, we're afraid to promote you because you might get pregnant," shit like that. Just
What?
absolute juvenile shit. Yeah, dude, it's all in there, man. There's like 50, 60 examples of things happening related to this, and this, I don't necessarily take this at face value as absolute empirical fact. However, it is hard to deny given the nature of the suit and the fact that it was coming from the state itself. And there's a lot of people on Twitter, developers, that came out and corroborated some of these things that have been happening and that this culture exists at Activision Blizzard. So, Montreal, I mean, what are your high level thoughts here on this?
I kind of tweeted about it earlier today. It's not necessarily thoughts on the situation. I think they already alluded to how bad the Activision was beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
With another article Jason Schreier wrote, right?
Yes. Yeah.
About how bad the work conditions were, and that was for particularly Call of Duty and how that process is and how they treat their temps and everything of that nature. So seeing this, I'm actually not surprised, to be honest with you. I thought it would have gotten better since all that came out, but I guess not.
Yeah.
The gaming stratosphere is the development side of it is extremely toxic, and it's really, I want to be this woke guy, but it's male dominated. So
it is.
You're gonna
especially
have
in
that
management positions.
Yep. So you're gonna have that frat boyism. I consider that like tech, and tech in general is kind of male dominated and has that frat boyism to it.
It is, dude. It's
And
happening in my company. It's the boys club, as I call it, is what I'm calling it. Where you you bring in the boys, and you guys are you're running the company. It's like what the fuck, dude? Like, how does this even happen? But yeah, this shit happens. It's real. Like it cronyism, nepotism. This shit's real and it's everywhere. But I think it's prevalent in tech and video games specifically, because those have been historically male dominated sectors, and women have had a hard time getting into these industries But yeah, to me, like the I don't know, some of the things that were said in this, some of the documents that were leaked out or released, it just seems so outlandish. Like, I can't believe these things are actually happening if they are, because it was like there was one thing in here where a woman got kicked out of a lactation room because male coworkers wanted to use it for a meeting. Like, what? Like, how does that even happen? Like, why would you even want to use that room for a meeting?
Yeah.
Like, and then being criticized for picking up their fucking kids from daycare. Like, what the fuck, man? Who are these people doing this? Like, just total scumbag shit. It's like I
Well, a
don't
lot
know.
of them, I feel like a lot of them are socially inept people, socially inept. I mean, we worked with some of them. I mean, not immediately with us, but like,
Yeah,
I worked with
right.
someone who are just like who don't understand women, who don't talk to women, and
Yeah,
uh, especially when I was at my job before my last job, it was like that. Like, it was just like male dominated, and then when a woman enters the ring, it was like testosterone and hormones just amped up times 20,
yeah.
and it was
Hmm.
it was not a pretty sight, especially it just wasn't comfortable for the woman, and I was super uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable. I know they were super uncomfortable in that position. So I think that's what it is. It's just I don't know. It's so dumb at this point.
Hmm.
I start to believe sometime that basement dwelling joke sometime is real because it's like,
I mean, it is real to a degree.
yeah. So
Um, yeah, because I mean, there's a part of the gaming population that are just lonely people. I mean, they totally exist, man.
yeah,
And I've interacted with some of them before. I was one of them for a period of time in my life, and unfortunately, I don't know. It's hard to posit solutions because, unfortunately, in especially in American workplace culture, change often does not happen unless management wants it to. And that's where it needs to come from. But these guys are the reason it is this way. In the first place. So the only way for the change to happen is to expose these dudes and get them out. You know, Bobby
yeah.
Kotick needs to be responsible for this to a degree. J. Allen Brack needs to be responsible for this to a large degree. He's a part of Blizzard directly, and he has an impact on this day to day, this culture. And guys like that, they need to be called out. Like, it's their failing that it's like this. And this is not, when this came out, this wasn't a surprise to me, because why wouldn't it be this way when the company is so poor? Their production lately has been so poor that it makes sense that this is probably a company in extreme turmoil all the time. You probably have workers who are good at their jobs, who are trying to work hard, but they have managers and other coworkers inhibiting their ability to do their job well because they're shitheads. They like there's some reports in here that some people that are high up and some people that aren't high up literally are playing video games on their work shift. Like, they're not even working, and when you have that happening, that kind of explains why Blizzard is so unproductive. Because everyone else is having to pick up the slack, and then they're burnt out and they're cranky and they're not doing a very good job themselves because they're not at their peak, because they're tired, because they're having to pick up other people's slack. And then if you have management who's completely disenfranchised and like not even in the know, or like totally out of touch with their workers, then they're not leading well, which means they're not setting priorities correctly. They don't even
Mhm.
care, because they're probably coasting. And ultimately, that leads to an unproductive workforce, an unproductive staff, inefficiencies all over the place, lack of direction. And you see this play out in their game releases. Warcraft 3 Reforged is a game littered with ineptitude. It's not the ineptitude of the people working on the game necessarily, but there's something somewhere was dropped so severely that that game was allowed to release in that state. Somebody wasn't managing it well. And then you look at like World of Warcraft. I've been watching a ton of videos about WoW versus like Final Fantasy over the last couple weeks and the last few months of it, and it's clear that game is in extreme amounts of trouble. It took them 8 months to release a major content patch, or 9 months even, to release a major content patch for an expansion for Shadowlands. And there was a huge content drought. There was nothing between November and July. There was no content that came out for World of Warcraft, and that is a huge gap for an MMO to not have anything new, especially a game making as much money as WoW. And you kind of like look at that, and then I've been hearing about all the game systems within Shadowlands, and it just seems like a complete scattershot mess. Like the game has all these systems that are half baked, not fully realized. They don't interact with each other well. People hate them, but Blizzard doesn't even listen. They like double down on these shitty systems and just piss the player base off even more. And they're reaping what they've sown. Now everyone's fucking leaving to go play other MMOs. New World's getting all this buzz. Ashes of Creation's getting all this buzz. Final Fantasy 14's tons of people are going to that fucking game from WoW, and a lot of them probably aren't going to look back. And I think the consequences of Blizzard's culture that have been revealed here are starting to clearly show themselves, not only in a suit like this, but in their games and their output. Like, think, what was the last major release Blizzard had? I guess Burning Crusade Classic, technically, if you want to call that a major release, even though they were just re-releasing a fucking game, and even that they can't do well because they're changing all this shit. And then before that was Shadowlands, I guess, and then before that was what? Warcraft 3 Reforged, which is a joke. That's not a major release. It's a fucking disaster. And before that was what? I can't even tell you. I don't know if some Hearthstone expansion, like,
exactly.
they're not even outputting games anymore. Like Diablo 4, they're talking about that game like it's not coming out till the next fucking console generation, like, and Overwatch 2, like, I thought that was close, but even that seems like it's fucking 2 years out, and it's like, what the fuck's going on over there? And it clearly nothing. Like, it's just, I don't like this. So point being, this doesn't surprise me. It really doesn't, given all that. I think the signs were there. Like, even if you had no knowledge of this happening, I think the signs were there that some shit was wrong inside this company. And I hope that this suit coming forward is eye-opening to many people at Activision and Blizzard and upper management, and some change happens, because it needs to. This company's in shambles, in my opinion. Maybe not financially, they're not in shambles, but they will be if this continues. Like, it's gonna be bad. Like, Overwatch 2 is gonna flop, and I really believe.
You think so?
I'm starting to think that that's gonna happen. Who cares? Who really cares? Who's actually hyped about Overwatch 2? Do you hear people talking about it with any amount of anticipation? Like, anyone?
I say stuff like that, then people come out the woodwork saying, like, they can't wait for Overwatch 2, or they can't wait for this and that third.
Well, get your head up your ass, guys, because it's probably not even going to be good.
It looks like the same. It looks like the same game, to be honest with you.
It's going to be the same game. It is. It's just going to have a 2 on it. So
I don't know. I think the I don't even think the most. I mean, as bad as that is, with the news that we heard, I'm not really surprised, like you said, about that. I'm not really upset about that. I am upset about it, but it's like I already went through the motions with this like months ago, because we already knew this type of thing was going on anyway. So when I heard it kind of just validated my feelings about this.
Yeah. The industry is very upset about it, as they should be.
So that's what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Now this may be just me being a Debbie Downer. I've been seeing, little like gaming influencers, not ones that are verified. Some are verified and some that aren't. Like, you can tell they're like gaming influencer because they have like 1,000, 10,000 followers, and then like 100, they're following like 100 or 200 people with themselves or whatever. So like, I've been seeing like small time influencers and even some large time influencers be very performative as far as their outrage about this.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it's like very disingenuous. Because I'm seeing people like, oh my, this is why I uninstalled WoW. Like, no, it isn't. You uninstalled WoW because WoW was bad already.
Boring, yeah.
It was boring
Yeah,
already.
stop being fake. Like,
Yeah, like I'm done with Call of Duty. Warzone. This
I'm sure
is
you are.
and I see a lot of other players and other people saying that too. But as soon as the next Call of Duty is going to drop, you guys are going to buy it. Like
Right.
and maybe that's, like I said, that's just me being very, very pessimistic right now because of my mood. But that's how I really feel. I feel like as soon as Diablo 4 dropped, that's why I'm not saying right now. I'm not saying I'm not buying this game because of what they're doing, or I'm not supporting this company because what's going on. Because I can say this right now, and then Diablo 4 drops and looks fucking amazing, and I'm like,
Jake gets
I
it.
want to,
I get it. We all get it. We're all like,
yeah,
"Oh, Montrell, this game's fucking awesome, bro. You gotta
yeah,
come play with us, man." And you're like, the FOMO kicks in, and you buckle, and that's gonna happen to a lot of people. And I will be honest. Okay, I want to talk about the boycotting Blizzard over this side of this first. From like me personally, is that I am kind of in a phase where I'm not like actively thinking about boycotting Blizzard, but I have been boycotting Blizzard like without
yeah.
really thinking about it. Because
When was
dude,
the last time we played any Blizzard games?
Warcraft 3 Reforged, year and a half ago
But
for me.
yeah, but that we stopped playing it.
Oh, I played it for like half a day, and then I haven't played it since. And before that was like WoW Classic for like a month. And then before that, I can't even remember the last time I played a Blizzard game. And I was thinking about it. The reason I'm saying this though is that, all things equal, I think if I hadn't had so much beat down from Blizzard over the years, Burning Crusade Classic coming out, I would have been all over it,
Yep,
totally engrossed in it.
same,
And I
same.
haven't even thought about it. I don't
I
care.
I,
I'm playing
I
other
can
MMOs.
I
I
completely
literally
forgot
went
it
to other
came out.
MMOs. Yeah.
I mean, I completely forgot it came out until you just said it. I
Well,
know we
dude,
talked
we
about it
we
last
were
week.
like thinking about a game we were going to play together, right? And that game was on the table. I remember we were talking about it. And
Yep, you're right.
you guys decided, no, we're not touching it. And even Jet, who fucking loves Burning Crusade Classic, he's just like, nah, I'm good. It's like, and I love Burning Crusade, dude. And I just like, nah, I don't care. It's just whatever. Fuck World of Warcraft. Fuck Blizzard. I don't want to play it. That's my opinion at this point. And like Diablo 4 is the one game they have coming up that might get me to buckle. Maybe Diablo 2, the remaster, if everybody starts playing it, maybe I'll buckle from that too.
I'm not. I'm probably. I'll tell you right now, I'm not playing it.
I kind
I'll
of
wait.
agree with you.
I
I don't
I'm,
care. I really
yeah,
don't.
I'm going to play. I think I'll rather play Diablo 4 because it looks more
It's
up
gonna
my
be
alley.
modern.
Yeah, it's going to be more modernized.
Yeah.
I'm not going to play Diablo 2 remastered. Even with Diablo 4, I'm not going to buy it on release. Like I'm just not. So
Yeah. Yeah, that might
um,
happen for me too. So that's kind of my thing is like, and I think the people who are saying, "Oh, this is why I quit WoW," or I'm not playing their games anymore. Fuck this. I mean, you guys need to hold yourselves personally accountable because none of us are going to be able to tell that you broke your own boycott vow. But um, guys, like the reality is that us, like if you say that now and then you break that to go play Diablo 4 or Diablo 2 or Overwatch 2, whatever the game, you like we are contributing to this culture existing. Like cuz
yep,
we're basically we're saying what you're doing isn't bad enough for me to not buy your games, you know? Like
pretty
and
much.
that's the only way they're going to see it. That's the only way they're going to change is when they see it impact them financially. That's when true change will happen. And so that's kind of my message, I guess. If this disgusts you, don't buy their shit, just don't do it. And if you do it, buy it extremely on sale for like $5, because yeah, fuck them. Don't give them the full 60 or 70, whatever they're gonna fucking charge for their new games, and I don't know. Yeah, I mean, this is gross. I agree with you about the influencers too, though, Montreal. Is that I think I'm kind of getting really tired of the industry's cycle with this kind of news. Is it feels like there's a group of people who's very sensationalist about it, and they treat it. And to be frank, I don't want to get political here, but it's that woke crowd online. They're the ones who like they take this shit and then they want to make sure they're as overt about their disgust as they can be to the point of obnoxiousness. Like they're just so obnoxious about it, where and some people are genuine. Absolutely. I believe that. But I do think there are a lot of influencers, small and large, who take advantage of these situations to make their views go up. And it's gross, disgusting. And I don't know. I like we're being so negative right now, man. But I feel like I really feel this. I feel really disenfranchised with the industry right now. From a corporate
Yeah,
perspective, the influencer side, the media. I think all of it's just, like gross at this point right now. And
I
I
think
just
all of it's finally coming to a head for a lot
yeah
of people, especially us, because I don't say we've been in the industry, but we've been following the industry for such a long time, and
yep
we've seen from where it rised and fell, and I
mm-hmm.
feel like it's on the falling scope of
yeah
if there was a ticker or whatever, it will be on the down scope right now. I think as far as games coming out, there are really good games coming out. I just think the culture behind gaming is down, but the video games that are coming out are really good
yeah.
and kind of overshadowing that culture in my opinion, the conversations around it and things of that
That's the
nature.
problem. Yeah. That's the problem. Until these companies get hit in the wallet, the culture's not going to change. The crunch culture, the harassment culture, the discrimination, none of that's going to change until the pocketbooks start getting a little lighter. And
But it's
I don't
like,
know.
how do you change that? There isn't, like you said, there isn't really a real way to change it. Because I mean, how many times have we? I don't even like even talking about sports games anymore on the podcast, is because it's like, how many times have we talked about sports games? And I've heard people who love sports games talk about sports games too, in the way where they know shit needs to change, but they keep supporting the sports game industry.
Hmm.
And it's like, how many times have we had this conversation? Just don't buy the game, and people still go out and buy the game. And
Well, and then they get mad at us for saying that.
yeah, exactly.
For
And so it's like,
for they get mad at us for being critical of the game. And
yeah,
I just I'm like I don't like it's just willpower. Like we're weak-willed as gamers. We are one of the most like gullible, just we say one thing one day and then the next day we get distracted and forget about what we said yesterday. Like it happens all the time. And this is true in all culture at this point, online culture. It happens within the political realm as well, where we get outraged about something, some massacre happens with a gun and we talk about it for 2 days and then something else happens and it's like it never happened. We never discuss it again. It's like it happens all the time. And it happens in video games too. And I think that's my thing is ultimately, you as an individual, we all have to be aware of that. Like don't forget these things. Don't let the tide sweep you away. Like it's very easy to like get into a conversation or be following something and follow it for like the day or two that it's in the news and then completely forget about it again. And it takes a lot of self-awareness to not do that, to be aware of these things, to keep bringing it up, and I don't know. It's really all we can do. I mean, the only other option is for us to like become the CEOs and make the change ourselves. Like that's the only other way it happens is that individuals get into positions of power within these companies and enact change. And they're not listening to a podcast like this or any podcast probably talking about video games, but that's the other reality. That's the other path. Really. So yeah, sucks. It is what it is. I hate it. I hate that this is just like the norm. This just seems to be the norm at a lot of companies, man. Like females in video games just have it so rough. They really do. And to say otherwise is ignorant and just like naive. because even just playing games as a female is a fucking nightmare. I cannot imagine how they play games sometimes, like multiplayer games, because there's just fucking gross dudes in every corner, just waiting to be creepy somewhere to some chick. It's like, so yeah. I don't know much. You got anything else you want to say, or should we move on?
Let's move on. Let's
Okay,
move on.
let's talk about some video games. Maybe something a little bit exciting. All right. So EA Play happened today. Actually, day of recording. I totally forgot about it because it's EA, and but they had a few things. Nothing really too crazy. Knockout City's getting a second season. Apex Legends new character, which, by the way, hyper disappointed in the abilities that they talked about for that character. It's just very uncreative. It feels like it's like Bloodhound, just like different Bloodhound, basically. So not excited about that personally. But the big thing was Dead Space. So we had heard rumors about this a few weeks ago, but there was a teaser for Dead Space, and it is making a comeback. No release window. It's next gen only. We didn't get any gameplay. It was just a cinematic teaser trailer. But Montrell, what'd you think?
I'm super excited for it. I know it don't sound like it right now, but I am. The only problem is a reason why I'm not super excited because we talked about it 2 episodes ago that was going to happen, and I'm glad it was finally announced. So yeah, I'm glad this is getting a remake. Motive is already the studio that made it. They used to be Visceral Studios before they became Motive, or got absorbed into Motive. So I have no doubts that it's going to be in good hands. I'm glad EA is finally seeing that single player games do have a role in the industry. Looks like they're taking back their stance, what they said a couple of years ago back. Obviously, Jedi Outcast.
Fallen Order.
Fallen Order was the catalyst for that, and the good times just keep on rolling. So I think the Mass Effect remastered sold pretty well as well. So it's just a good time for single player gamers and for fans of like old franchises from EA that are coming back, especially the Dead Space fans. They're definitely eating right now. I can't wait for this game to be released. So yeah, I'm excited for it.
All right. I'm going to play devil's advocate for a second here. And yeah, it's my role in the show today. I'm just the negative guy. Sorry, everybody. So I'm excited for you, and I'm excited for everybody with Dead Space, who's a fan of Dead Space. I'm not personally. I never played any of the games. They look like Dead Space 1 looks fucking dope, but I've never played it. So
yeah, because you're not really a horror game fan.
Yeah, I'm not a horror guy. This announcement doesn't really hit me in any particular way. So what do you think of the idea, though, that like Hollywood, the game industry is kind of starting to run out of ideas, man. Like this is happening a lot, bro. Like we're gonna get in like a lot of remakes and re-releases, and I know we were talking about it a little bit earlier, but it's just like this is just another example of it, though. It's like is this a remake of Dead Space? Because they're calling it a remake.
Yeah, they said they're remaking the game from the ground up.
Yeah,
so it is a proper remake. Which I guess one day we need to have a fucking reflections episode on what the fuck the difference is between a remaster and a remake. Even though I think we did already, but
no, we really talked about it on the show. I think,
yeah, we really need to educate people on what a remaster or remake is. But I 100% agree with you. Even though I'm excited about this, it's like, can we get something new or fresh or something like that? And we talked about it, I think last week or week before last. I think it was actually one of the questions that they're using remasters and remakes to see if this is what sparks interest. This is what people want and stuff like that. And I think it is doing the Hollywood phase. Like people are just either they lack creativity or companies do not want to take the chance to try a new IP or anything like that, or try something new within the existing IP. Like we already talked about, F-Zero can make an action game or something like that with Captain Falcon or something like that. And a lot of companies don't want to take that risk. And when they do take that risk, it's either a make it or break it type deal. Uh, so these remakes and remasters are just like really easy for them to gauge if there's interest in the games, and then if there's not, then they can just say, "Oh, at least we made a remaster for you. There you go. Get off our ass about it."
It's good PR no matter what, right?
Exactly. So I agree with you, and I understand the sentiment. I understand where you're going with this, as far as like you're excited for it, but it's like I was the same way. Like I was like, yes, finally, but it wasn't like I was like, yeah, finally, but it's like, oh, you're just following the Resident Evil train because Resident Evil did this, and then they released Resident Evil 8 and
Right. Which
7
we
and 8.
talked about that when this was rumored, right? That they're like,
Yep,
Capcom's had a ton of success with this. But dude, Dead Space ain't that old, EA. Like all the
it is
games that
pretty
have
old.
been no, but all the games that Capcom has remade are 20 years old, Like
That's true. Yeah,
this is what, 12,
12, yeah,
13?
12 to 13 years old, 12 to 15 years
Like
old,
it's
something like
it's
that.
it's a modern game in the sense of control and design for the most part. Obviously, it doesn't look great anymore, but so that's my point, I guess, is what I'm getting at here. Is I give Capcom a little bit more credit because those games took a lot more effort to build from the ground up. This game, I mean, dude, they could probably just reuse the fucking levels as they are, like,
Yeah,
and
and just upgrade the textures and stuff like that. Yeah,
yeah, make the textures look better, and like, yeah, like basically, and then like, don't the guns will all be the same, whatever weapons are in the game will all be the same, like, are they going to add new enemies? Probably not. It's going to be all the same enemies and bosses and whatever the hell else. And it's like music, even like sound and audio, they'll probably just remaster the audio. Not even, they don't even necessarily have to redo it. It's like, so this is like low effort, I don't want to like take anything away from anybody with this, but I just want to point out that this is a trend that is starting to it's starting to pull up red flags for me a little bit, because this is like a different way of extracting quick and easy profit out of something that's not hard to make. Like, I don't know what the budget is for this remake, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the scope of this remake's huge and they're going to redo the whole fucking game, But I'm doubting it. And given that, as just that, this is the thing. I don't want this to become a huge trend. I mean, even Sony's fucking doing it with like The Last of Us, and that game came out 8 years ago. It's, it's like you don't even need to redo anything in that game. Just make the textures look a little nicer, and bang, you got your remake for The Last of Us Part 1. It's like, so I don't know. It's a little weird.
Yeah, and the simple fact that they're remaking The Last of Us 1 is so weird to me. I think that's the weirdest one out of all of these remakes.
And Sony's not the one to go for a quick cash grab. And given how long it seems to be taking, it probably isn't a quick cash grab. They're probably doing significant stuff to it, but at the same time, it's like that game is still playable, Like, you can literally play it on PS4 and it feels okay, Like, it's not the best game ever made in terms of gameplay, but it's doable, certainly doable. So I don't know. I'm just it's just a negative episode. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm just but it I think it's worth pointing out, though. Let's keep an eye on it, everybody. Keep an eye on it and see kind of what the trend is, because when Ubisoft starts remaking Assassin's Creed games, that's when this is a trend.
Well, I think now, like, they're just not going to remake it. They're just going to be like, oh, I really feel like that new
They're gonna put it in
game,
Eternity or whatever it's called.
I really feel like that. Yeah, I really feel like that Eternity is nothing but a Genshin Impact. I really feel like that. Like, you're going to be able to play with each different assassin that you acquired over the years and stuff like that.
Yeah. So
yeah,
keep an eye on it, guys.
Yeah, man. Woo. Yeah.
Woo. Man. Dead Space, what a great announcement. Good job, EA. Well done. You've gotten some goodwill for once. All right, Montrell, let's move on. This one's this one's just sad, dude. So Ubisoft, speaking of Ubisoft, they've announced that their Tom Clancy mashup game, Tom Clancy's Elite Squad, is going to be shut down.
It just got announced.
And this game was announced in E3 2020 and released, E3 2019 and released in August 2020. And this was that like game where they showed Sam Fisher, and everybody was like, "Oh my god, it's Sam Fisher! Are they making a Splinter Cell game?" No, they're not, because fuck you. And then the game survives for a single year. Like, what a disaster, man! Just put Sam Fisher in a closet and pretend he doesn't exist. Stop doling him out like this, dragging him out and making people excited about nothing. Ubisoft, stop it. You're just like, you're torturing people. Let it go.
They don't care, man. What are you talking about?
I guess if they think if it can make them money, it's worth it, right?
Ubisoft is such a weird company because I don't know where to label them. They're like in between EA. They're not. I feel like they're trying to be as sinister as EA, but they always fail.
They're not good at it. Yeah, they're not good at it. They won't accept their place in the industry, man. They're like a tier below EA and Activision, especially in terms of money's made, and value. But like, they can make quality games. It's just
That's
they're
the
always
weird
like
thing.
they're like the little brother, right? They're like the little brother who like does a good job, but then is like feels inadequate. Like, they're like, "Oh man, we made a good game, but man, we're not making enough money off of it. So let's put in silly little microtransactions into our game to ruin it for everybody."
So you ever watch Powerpuff Girls?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember this group of villains called the Amiibo Boys?
I do.
So I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Amiibo Boys, but every time they try to be a villain, they actually end up doing something really good. Yeah. And that's how I feel.
So you feel
Ubisoft is like the Amiibo Boys of the big three, because they're trying to be like this, not sinister conglomerate, but they're trying to be like this, money making machine that EA and Activision is, right?
Yeah.
But they accidentally make good games, and they're like, why aren't we making any money off these games?
Put an EXP booster in it.
Yeah, like why aren't these games like got any fucking predatory monetization in them? And they try to put it in, and it just fails miserably. But the game actually sells well because like people like the game, like people like,
and they get like critically acclaimed. It's like, wait, no, hold on, we don't want to be critically acclaimed. We want to make $1 billion off this game. Damn it! Shit. All right, fuck it. We're gonna make a live service Assassin's Creed game, and I bet you it's gonna be good as fuck. I bet you it's gonna be good as fuck, man. Like, it's gonna be super good. And yeah, I don't know.
And it's just, I don't know. That's what they remind me of that they were talking about it. Because every time I think of EA or Ubisoft, it's like, man, they make really quality games, but they don't know how to monetize off those quality games. Like, I think the only really bad game they made so far was that Ghost Recon game. Like, I remember that game came out and it did miserable.
Oh yeah, but didn't they fix that? Or no, that was Breakpoint. No, they fixed Ghost Recon too. They Wildlands, right?
Yeah, I think they fixed it, and then it failed again because they tried to monetize it again. I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. And then Rainbow Six Siege, I remember that game came out and did terrible, and then they fixed it, and they even with the monetization, there, people were like, "Man, this game is like really good," and it's like. And everyone was like, "Yeah, just like keep doing what you're doing," and they somehow managed to mess it up without messing it up. I don't know. It's just weird how they operate, and they.
Well, yeah, it's not like a hyper profitable game. I mean, we never hear about it like that. We know it's popular, but like it's not talked about the way Apex and Fortnite are. That are making like hundreds of millions of dollars. Every month. It's like Rainbow Six is just like, yeah, it's a great game. It's awesome. Good job, Ubisoft.
And that's all their games, actually. It's like, yeah, it's a good game. It's awesome. And good job, man. And it's like, no, but we want to make more money. And it's like, no, you guys made a really good game. Like,
cool. Okay, so I know you've watched Angry Joe. You know his like corporate commander bit or whatever.
Yeah.
They're like a good guy version of that character. Like they're like we want to make ultimate money, and they're like. They're like, wait, stop making a good game over there. What are you doing? And and then it's just like the game's out. It's too late. They're like, damn it. I wanted to make millions, hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're Cobra Commander, but like good. Like, Captain. They're like, what was that guy's name from Captain Planet? Like Captain Ooze, but but he actually did bad stuff to the environment. But they're Captain Planet. They're Captain Planet, and they want to be Captain Ooze or whatever. So I don't know, man. Like Ubisoft's a weird company.
Did you like my
and
Cobra Commander voice?
actually, it was really good. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. I never even watched that show, to be honest, dude. But it's such a unique, like, iconic voice. You know, it's got to be part of the impression lineup. You know,
That what's the guy's name from He-Man?
oh,
That's who you sound like.
Skeletor.
Yeah, Skeletor.
Come on, He-Man. I will defeat you. I am Skeletor. Fucking God damn it! I love those cartoons. They're so dumb. He-Man was uniquely funny, man. That show is just that's something special over there.
Yeah, man,
All right.
I don't know.
All right, man. Let's move on. We got a couple more stories.
NPD numbers.
Woo-hoo. Yeah, let's go. Justin reads a bunch of numbers off a page. Let's go. Oh shit, do I have the right one? Uh-oh. No, I think I have the wrong. I have the wrong
You got the
numbers.
wrong article. Yeah.
Oh, I got it. I found it. Crisis averted, everybody. All right. Total video game sales for the month of June 2021, 4.928 billion versus 4.689 billion last year. That's a 5% increase. So the semi-stagnation we've seen the last couple months, somewhat continuing, at least in the total video game sales front. Video game content, so this is everything: physical, digital, DLC, microtransactions, subscriptions, cloud, mobile, portable, PC, VR, all that shit. 4.319 billion versus 4.291 billion last year. That is a 1% increase. It's actually less than 1% if you really did the math. So barely any growth there. But then video game hardware, 401 million versus 189 million last year. 112% increase. So this is the big sector of improvement, of course. We've got new consoles. They're actually starting to become a little bit more available recently in the last few weeks. So I would actually expect this to continue if they can continue to keep supply up, because the demand for these things is still very, very high. Then video game accessories, 207 million this year versus 209 million last year. It's actually a minus 1% decrease in total sales numbers. Also not necessarily a surprise. And actually year to date, so we're like halfway through the year now. So I kind of I'm going to read these numbers off. So year to date 2021, 28.944 billion versus 25.233 billion last year. That's a 15% increase. And then total video game content, 25.364 billion versus 22.528 billion, 13% increase. And then hardware, this is the big one, 2.346 billion versus 1.62 billion, 45% increase. And then accessories, 1.234 billion, and then 1.086 billion, 14% increase year over year. And then the top 20 best-selling games for the month of June. Let's go through the full list. Ratchet & Clank, Rift Apart, number 1. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, back up to number 2 after being at 4. Mario Golf Super Rush, number 3. MLB The Show 21 is number 4. Scarlet Nexus, number 5. Resident Evil Village, number 6. Mario Kart 8, number 7. Minecraft, number 10. Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, number 9. Mortal Kombat 11, number 10. Animal Crossing New Horizons at 11. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019 is 12. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is 13. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is 14. Super Mario 3D World is 15. Mass Effect Legendary Edition is 16. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 is 17 for some reason, after being 51 last month. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, number 18. Pokemon Sword and Shield is 19. Sea of Thieves rounds it out at number 20. Anything jumping out to you there, Montrell?
Yeah, that Tony Hawk. I think that's because I think he was doing some stuff this week and last week. It was some X Games types. Yeah, so that may have been it. Even I bought Tony Hawk. So
people were like, Tony Hawk. Oh yeah, there's a Pro Skater remake. Let me go buy those.
Yeah, I think they're on sale too. So I did buy it too. So
Okay.
that's probably why they jump in sales for that.
The one I
But
want to call out here is MLB The Show 21, sticking at number 4. It has consistently been in the top 5 since it came out. This game, dude, I think this game's a juggernaut at this point. I think it's easy to say that now. Like this is like Madden 2K basketball levels of like consistent sales. This is like because when those games come out, we're gonna see them in these positions that like top 5 every month for the first few months they're out. So I think the push over to other platforms, PC and Xbox, it's ended up probably being to Sony's benefit overall. So that's an interesting one, which is something I will say I called out would more than likely happen when this was announced that it was coming to other platforms. And then Ratchet and Clank at number 1, actually kind of a surprise to me, to be honest. I did not expect that for that game. So people who own PS5s are fucking chomping at the bit for PS5 games. So give the people what they want, Sony. Stop releasing these fucking games on multiple platforms, okay? Anything else you want to call out?
No, I'm not really surprised. I'm actually still surprised to see Resident Evil 7 or 8 rather doing so well.
Village, yeah, definitely. You know what's interesting? Going down to the best-selling games for the year, this shows how weak of a month it was. Ratchet and Clank being the number 1 game this month, not even in the top 10 for the year. So, yeah. Which, I mean, makes sense given that there's probably only like 9 or 10 million PS5s out there. I mean, even if they sold a copy to half the people who own a PS5, it probably wouldn't be in the top 10, which, to be honest, there's no way they sold that many. So they probably sold 1 million, if that. So, yeah, interesting. All right. You can go look at the MPD numbers if you want to see the rest. They are always interesting to read. And I would suggest it. All right. Next story, Montrell. Back to Ubisoft. They have delayed Rainbow Six Extraction to January 2022. It was supposed to be coming out, I believe, in October. And now it's coming out early next year. So are you bummed about this? Were you looking forward to this game?
No.
Me either, man. Me either.
I completely forgot about this fucking game. What is this? Oh, this is the scary game. Or not the
it's like the Zerg co-op.
Yeah.
You get turned into a Zergling if you're in a pod too long game and you need to kill the hive mother or whatever the fuck.
I'm actually done with the whole one player versus other player thing. I think that field has been dominated by Dead by Daylight. Is it Dead by Daylight? Yeah, Dead by Daylight.
Yeah.
They actually have like a whole community dedicated to Dead by Daylight. It's actually really interesting. So I think that field is dominated by that game, and other games are now trying to capitalize because they see how successful that game is doing.
Yeah.
But it's just not the same. Like Dead by Daylight has a lot of IPs behind it. Resident Evil, the WB IPs, movie franchises, and I don't think anybody else can emulate what they're doing. So please stop. That's what we need. We need for game companies to stop this like emulation thing. Because the same thing happened in the movie industry. I mean, I know we talked about the remakes, but like remember when Get Out came by Jordan Peele? Now we have like all these like, white people scary, black people scared thing that came out and from other movies and stuff like that. They try to do like kind of emulate that. And even like The Quiet Place where you have to use one of your senses to like navigate through the movie. Then we had Bird Box, and then we had another one where you couldn't see or taste or something like that or smell. And I'm like, oh my God. Like
couldn't taste? What's scary about that?
I don't know, man. Like,
I know you misspoke, but that would be a hilarious premise for a horror movie.
Yeah, I think it was one where you could only smell the monster or something like that. And then it was Bird Box, you couldn't see the monster. And then Quiet Place, you had to be real quiet so the monster can hear really well.
This summer, You can't taste anything. What will you do when the fungus gets inside?
Hey, that's a good movie voice, man.
Yeah, dude, I could do the trailer voice, trailer guy. Yeah.
But yeah, I just want the emulation to stop. So I'm actually not surprised it got pushed back. To be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a better window for it, to be honest. Like fall, it's going to get buried in the fall. I think January is actually a perfect time for a game like this to come out because nothing else is going to be coming out. So, if you want your game to succeed and it's not a game you think is going to beat Call of Duty or Battlefield, which are literally coming out in October and November, like good fucking luck if you're a shooter in that time frame. Yeah, it's. I think this makes sense. Like, just fucking get it out of that window. Like Ubisoft, you are the little brother in that situation. Get the fuck out of there. You're not competing with those games with your little Rainbow Six cute little Tom Clancy games. Like, so yeah, makes sense. We'll see. I mean, I'm not gonna play it. You're not gonna play it. So this will probably be the last time you hear about it on this show. But all right, Montrell, let's move on. We got one more thing to talk about today, and that is our listener question for the week from Dat Dude. Once again, holding it down. He asks us, in y'all's opinion, what was the best generation of consoles so far? Why?
Oh, man, this is a hard question because
It is.
I want to go to one. Yeah, I want to go to one particular generation, but then I think about that generation towards the later end. It was this weird era. I'll just say it. The 7th generation, because we're in the 9th, right? Or the 8th.
I don't fucking know.
All right, the 360
I never
PS3.
heard any, I want to sidebar real quick. I never heard anybody reference game generations the way you do, where you have them numbered. You're the first person I ever met who talked about game generations that way. And
really?
yeah, no, I'd never heard anyone talk about them that way. So, props to you, man. That's like an original thing for you, I think. I feel like, I mean, you probably have talked to people that talk like that before, but I've fucking never heard it. So, just an interesting things. Okay, sidebar over.
But I think the PS3 / Xbox 360 generation. Now when I'm talking about that generation, I think the reason why it's the best for me is because that first couple of years, especially on 360, I think the online, and we had a good mixture of online multiplayer and single player games that were coming out and that were really good at the time. Mm-hmm. Now they probably aged really poorly, but at the time they were really good.
It's a good thought experiment. Like, make somebody play modern day like Apex, and then right afterwards make them play like Uncharted 2 on a PlayStation 3. Like a like a networked PlayStation 3s, and like just see what's the difference in the experience. Like, what do they think? Like do they hit their analog stick and it takes like Drake like 2 seconds to turn because there's so much latency, and like lag.
Yeah.
And we all thought that was normal.
We just got used to it. That's crazy.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm exaggerating how bad it was, but it probably was pretty fucking bad, man. The internet was worse back then. We didn't have gigabit internet connections, like.
Man, well, I remember playing Halo 3 and like people would skip around. And that was like that was like something we just had to deal with.
Oh yeah. You'd like take that into account when you're taking your shots, Like, yeah. Now if somebody skips around, you're like, what do I do? He's lagging. I fucking fuck. Like,
yeah, exactly. So I don't know. That's a hard question, to be honest with you. Because then again, like the PS3 or PS2 / Xbox and GameCube generation, that generation, I think a lot of people will go towards because of nostalgia, and I would too. I mean, that's where I met Monster Hunter. That's where I started playing SOCOM 3 online.
You met Monster Hunter like it's an old girlfriend.
It is, man. It just keeps coming back.
You can't quit her, man. You can't quit her.
Can't quit her even to this day. So like, I met Monster Hunter. I played Monster Hunter there. There was some good Mega Man games that came out. I started playing. Bait and Katos. I mean, I started playing JRPGs on that console, during that console phase. Yeah. I mean, we had Mass Effect, not Mass Effect. We had like Jade Empire come out. KOTOR came out. So, I mean, I would have to probably say that generation just because I had so much fun during that generation playing games by myself.
Even on
Uh,
PC, like that was.
yeah.
I wouldn't call it a golden age, but there was there was some good times, man. I mean, you had a lot of RTSs coming out, Warcraft 3.
Oh yeah,
I think
yeah.
even like Age of Empires, like one of the expansions might have come out in the early 2000s, and then you've got World of Warcraft, of course. Tons of good MMOs came out in that period of time. Those were good times, man. And that is why that is my pick. That generation. Now, I do want to call you out a little bit about your pick because you've given me shit about saying that the PS3 has a good library before. And what, have you changed your mind on that all of a sudden, or are you specifically referencing the 360?
No.
More
I'm still going with
specifically?
it. 360.
Okay, because yeah, you told me the
I don't
PS3
know.
is like shit.
I don't know if you saw my tweets earlier this week,
uh,
but there was a battle on Twitter,
mm,
like a little mini battle of people. Like I call it revisionist history, and you may disagree. You're going to disagree with this.
okay,
I still think unanimously 360 dominated that generation. Like we have revisionist history when we say, "Oh man, the PS3 was just as good." No, it wasn't.
okay.
Come on, guys. Like,
I'm gonna
stop.
set the record straight because in a literal sense, Sony won. The PS3 outsold the 360 at the end of the day.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
by the time the PS4 came out, however, Montrell is correct. Um, the Xbox 360 was much better for the majority of that generation than the PlayStation 3. The thing is, though, the Red Ring of Death is the one thing that held Microsoft back, I think, big time
Yep.
in that
That,
generation. It
I
was a
100%
huge
agree with you.
fucking epidemic that they solved, I feel like, later in the generation, but early on it was a fucking nightmare for them. That was the biggest PR, one of the biggest PR-ish like gaffes a company's had in terms of perception was the Red Ring of Death. That is, I mean, it's a famous thing. Anybody who played games in that generation knows what that is. Whereas Sony didn't really have that problem. They had like the yellow ring of death or whatever, but that was like not anywhere near as widespread.
Yeah, I remember that, and it was only like a couple of consoles.
But the early years of the PlayStation 3 were total fucking ass cheeks. like like the worst shit you can imagine. Like what we're going through right now on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, like extrapolate that out over about 4 years. That was the beginning of the PlayStation 3 generation. It was fucking awful, dude.
That's what I'm trying to tell people. Like
Yes.
people,
The
like
games
okay,
were bad. There was nothing exciting. Like,
so I would tell people, like people were like, oh, and I already acknowledge that. I acknowledge Infamous. I acknowledge Uncharted. I acknowledge God of War. I say though, God of War was where it died in the PS3
wait,
generation.
God of War, what, 3?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, but hold on.
No,
Let's set the
no,
record
no,
straight.
no, no,
Let's
no.
set the record straight.
Ascension killed it for me, not 3.
Okay. Yeah,
Ascension killed it.
no. Let's set the record straight on those games, though. Uncharted 1
And Last of Us.
Uncharted 1 is like not really a good video game. Like that was like the thing. It came out in 2007, and that was the game everyone like clung to. Was like, oh my god, Uncharted's so good, guys. It's so good, and it's like it's not. It's like, but it was so bad. It was so bad that they needed something to like glob onto.
Would you register as the classic? Because that's what they're saying.
Absolutely not. Uncharted 1? Are you fucking crazy? A classic? Uncharted 1. Are you fucking kidding me? With that fucking old ass motherfucker who's like the fucking dude who gets tricked into grabbing a curse mummy and turning into a fucking zombie? No. Fuck no. Fuck it. You fucking kidding me? A classic. Like, that's a joke. That's a fucking joke, bro.
Okay,
so that's my point, though. Let me set the record straight on this. Is that 2009 is the beginning of when the good games started coming out. Uncharted 2, God of War 3, that came out in 2009. That wasn't an early game. Like, that came out 3 years after the fucking console came out.
Is that a classic? Do you consider that a classic?
God of War 3? It's very good. But no, God of War 2 is better, in my opinion. I prefer God of War 2. I think God of War 2 is the peak
Do
of
you
the
consider
franchise.
Uncharted 3 and 2 classics?
For Uncharted games, yes.
Okay. Well, as far as like the PS3 generation, is that like a must have?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
absolutely. They're like the top. They would be in the top 50 games of the console. Uncharted 1 would not.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So another game people were throwing at me, which I always say.
I played most of these games, so yeah, keep throwing them at me, dude.
Okay, so one game that people were throwing at me, and I did too, by the way.
Yeah.
A lot of people were throwing Metal Gear Solid 4 at me, and
Okay.
they hate my opinion on Metal Gear Solid 4 because I think that's the worst game in the franchise,
Okay.
by far, hands down. Worst.
I actually
game.
disagree with you, but I had a very specific experience with that game that most people probably didn't have, and it kind of paints my opinion of it. So, because I played through, I had never played any MGS game up to 4, and I played MGS 1, 2, 3, and 4 back to back over the course of a month with my best friend at the time, and it's one of the coolest game experiences I've ever had. So,
okay, I can see where you're going with that.
It paints my opinion of the game a little bit. As a game, I understand why people don't like it because it doesn't have a lot of gameplay.
It paints it wraps the story up really well.
But when you're playing it with your best friend who fucking loves MGS and he's like screaming and hollering every time something happens, and you just played the other 3 games, so you know everything back to front. Like it was pretty fucking hype.
Okay.
When Raiden's like fighting Vamp like on a second screen as you're like shooting rockets at a fucking Metal Gears, it's pretty epic, man. And then Raiden like stops like the Titanic with just himself. It's shit's fucking bonkers, bro. That game's insane. And then I'm sorry, I'm spoiling the whole thing, but fuck it, we're going all in at this point. When Snake is crawling through the microwave oven and he's like, he's 5 years old and he's just like, he's like fucking literally dying. This shit is. I mean, it was pretty badass. But I understand why people don't like it, though.
Yeah. So that was my take. But one take that I would never falter on.
Oh yeah.
Is I never had people come over to my house when I had PlayStation 3 and say, "Hey, yo, man, throw on that Resistance. I love that game."
Oh my god. Yes. Okay. Resistance. Okay, that's a good one. I didn't play any of those games, but I will say the fans of that series are obnoxious. They think it's the greatest shooter ever made, and it's like I doubt it was that good, man. I played a lot of those shooters in that period of time, and they're all kind of the same game, wrapped around a different skin, and I'm pretty sure Resistance is probably one of those. They're all just like Gears of War, but first or third person with like aliens. It's like, okay.
Yeah, so Resistance like stick was like it was World War II, and then the aliens came down during World War II.
Yes, I know the premise. Yeah.
And it had a multiplayer, and then someone leaked me like a Wikipedia article. It was like, "Oh, see, this is the best multiplayer game of 2008." And I really wanted to look up what
was that in the Wikipedia article. Like it was quoted from IGN or something. Like what the fuck? Where the fuck do you get that? You're using that as an argument? Like,
so I don't know. I can't remember what multiplayer games came out during 2008. So they're probably right, but it probably was a weak lineup of multiplayer games that came out during that year.
2008 sucked. Like, what the fuck came out in 2008? Like,
I don't know.
Jank-ass Near, like, what?
So they were talking about that. They said that game because I was like, I was ragging on that game.
Yeah.
And another game. What was the other game? Oh, Killzone. I'm like, bro, don't you even bring Killzone?
Don't even. What are you guys doing, man? What the? Who are these people, man? Who are these people?
It was on my Twitter a couple of days. I'm surprised you did not see it because it was on my Twitter.
What are they saying? Are they saying Killzone's iconic? Like, oh, it's so iconic that Sony killed the franchise 8 years ago.
They were saying that Sony
iconic.
They were just saying that the PS3 was. They were saying that it's better than a 360 as far as that regard. Like people have revisionist history when it comes to the PS3 and the 360 in that generation.
They do it all the time, dude.
And they were saying
about this. Yeah, keep going. Sorry.
And they were saying that the PS3 is actually better than what a lot of people remember. And I'm like,
it is. I agree with that statement, but it's not because of the first 3 or 4 years. It's because of the last 3 or 4 years. The last 3 or 4 years was full of bangers.
I agree with that.
Game
but
after
I feel
game,
I feel like the 360 was just good throughout the entire
yes,
in my opinion. I feel like
Absolutely.
it
Dude,
was
they were
good
beating
throughout the
Sony
entire.
even on JRPGs in the
Yeah,
early part of the fucking generation. And it's like, you got Tales of Vesperia. That game is a fucking banger, bro. There's like no JRPG on the PS3 better than that game. Straight up. I'm saying that straight up. Like, nothing, you know? So, fuck that. Yeah. Like, 360 was good, dude. Gears of War was excellent. That's a fucking great game. Gears of War 2 is a great game. Fucking Halo 3, you know, it's a fucking great game. You know, these are great games. Reach, ODST. I mean, what the fuck? Like, this is like classic Halo we're talking about. I know some people
and
don't
then,
like Reach, but
and
you
then
know,
people were trying to say like even though Mass Effect came out on PS3 as well, Mass Effect
that's
was
an Xbox game. Sorry.
yeah.
It is. No, it just is. It is. It's just, I'm sorry, it's just reality. Because, and I'm going to tell you why. Because again, revisionist history. This is the facts, guys. I'm just going to tell you the facts right now. Is that Mass Effect, the original Mass Effect, was an Xbox exclusive up until like 2013. It didn't come out on PlayStation until 2013, and it was only digitally that it came out on PlayStation. So that's an Xbox game. And even Mass Effect 2 had a full year of exclusivity on Xbox. Like, it didn't come out. It came out in 2009 on Xbox, and then it came out in 2010 in January on PlayStation 3. And guess what? It ran like fucking shit on PlayStation 3. That game sucks on PlayStation 3. It's a piece of shit. I tried to play it like not too long ago, and I fucking had to put the game down. I bought it on PC because it's so fucking bad. It was terrible. The load times were atrocious on PlayStation 3.
Yeah,
Game ran like complete ass cheeks.
And I want to say The Witcher, for an extent,
The Witcher was exclusive as well. Witcher 1 and 2 were exclusive on. Well, actually, I think it was just Witcher 2. Witcher 2 though was on Xbox only.
Yeah. So
I
mean,
yeah. No, I think
Xbox
it's revisionist history. It's all these Microsoft haters. It's all these Microsoft fucking hating anti-fanboys who hate Microsoft, and they're like, "Oh, Microsoft's never done anything good for video games," and it's like, bruh, you just sound like an ignoramus. Like, just like, shut up, dude. Like, the Xbox 360 is peak Microsoft in the console space. You know?
Oh yeah, they fell off really hard on the Xbox One, and
they did.
And that's where Sony took off. But
yes,
I mean, they've been taking off, like you said, the last 3 to 4 years of PlayStation 3's life. But the PlayStation 4 just blew them out the water. But I cannot, in good faith, give PlayStation that generation of the Xbox 360 and PS3.
Absolutely not. Absolutely,
I can't.
Yeah, I can't either. Especially the early part of it was not even close. Xbox had it on lock. That's the reason they were winning, is because they did have it on lock. You know, like they actually had the good games. So yeah, don't sit here and say that like Uncharted is some classic gem that fucking. What are you talking about, dog? Like, even the remake sucks. Like, it's not a good game, you know? Like, Uncharted didn't become good, and this is like a truism within the fan base of Uncharted. Like, Uncharted became good at 2. 2 is the classic, okay? 1 is just like janky and shitty, and the shooting sucks, and like the characters, most of them aren't funny, and they're kind of annoying. The villains are stupid. Like, there's a zombie plot, like where people start turning into fucking zombies. Like, the fuck, man, you know, it was fucking weird, dude. Like, so I mean, of course, Uncharted 2 had the blue men, you know. But yeah, so I mean, so going back to the original question though, you know.
Yeah,
so,
what's your generation?
Yeah, we got significantly sidetracked, which is fine. That's okay. It's GameCube, Xbox, and PS2. Like,
but why?
Hands down.
Why?
Hands down.
Can you admit that it's nostalgia, or
it's totally nostalgia. That's when I grew up though, Montrell.
Okay.
Like that was my teen years. Like that was my like 11 through like 17 years, you know? Like that was the peak of my childhood, you know? And those games, in my opinion, most of the games from that generation that I played, that I love, they're the best games of all time. They will litter my top 100 list, like completely fucking litter it from head to toe, you know? And yeah, some of it's nostalgia, but to be frank, Nintendo hasn't been anywhere. That was Nintendo's peak, was the GameCube.
You think so?
I
think the Switch is their peak right now.
I don't think so. No, I'm talking in terms of games.
Oh, in games?
Not the console. The Switch is the best device they've ever made, but the best games they ever made were on GameCube. I mean, it's just like, I mean, there's just so many good ones, man. And there's so many franchises that have been dead since that generation And yeah, I miss it. I miss a lot of those games. So yeah, it's GameCube for me. GameCube, PS2, Xbox, and even the original Xbox is a very charming device. There's a lot of charming
Yeah.
games on there, And PS2, man, as much as I personally don't hold it in necessarily the reverence that others do, I have to admit though that was a JRPG fucking machine, and there are more JRPGs on that console of like quality JRPGs than probably like 3 other consoles put together, like console generations. It was fucking nuts. They were coming out all the time, like crazy. There's just so many of them. So it's hard for me not to give it to that generation. I mean, GameCube has the best Smash Bros. Period, hands down.
Oh.
No
I'm so
questions
glad.
asked.
I'm so glad we're not popular because people get destroyed.
Wait,
for that
is that
take
not a
right
popular opinion anymore? Do people hate Melee now?
there.
Fuck
Yes.
that, man. Melee is king, bro. Like that shit was
No,
just
people hate Melee now. They hated it. They think they say Smash 4 is like one of the best iterations of Smash. And I think it is, to be honest with you. It's a
it
good
probably
balance
is,
between it's a good balance between pro and like casual.
Yeah.
But I just remember playing Melee for fucking hours, bro.
Hundreds of hours. Thousands
Hundreds of
probably.
hours.
Bro.
Yeah, man.
I probably put thousands of hours into Melee in my youth.
700 matches to get Mewtwo, and I did that shit.
I did that shit alone.
I did it myself. I did it by myself too.
Alone without playing in multiplayer. Yeah, I did it alone, And twice actually, because I lost my save file once.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh, I was a psycho, man. I played the fuck out of Brawl, bro. I mean, not Brawl. Sorry, Melee. I played the fuck out of that game, and I remember like there were summers in high school where it was like 2 straight summers where me and like 3 other friends, I'd wake up at 7:30 in the morning, shower, eat some breakfast, walk across the entire city I lived in, like 45 minutes to my friend's house with my GameCube, my controllers, and a bunch of games in my backpack. Every morning we go to this dude's house and play Melee for just hours, like the whole day. I did it every day for like in 2 entire summers. It was fucking magical, So that's why Melee will never be beat for me, because that was like peak Smash Bros for me. As much as I like the newest Smash, like Smash Ultimate, it's just the fire's not there anymore. None of us care to play it that much. So, but yeah, I mean, there's other games though. Bait and Katos. I mean, I've talked about that game ad nauseum, but I mean, it's one of my favorite games ever. Warcraft 3, World of Warcraft. There's just so many games that came out in that period of time that it's I miss it. I miss it desperately because I just think gaming at this point is just like so corporate. That was like the end of the golden era, okay, where gaming was still pure, because the PS3 and Xbox 360 is when it started to kind of get tainted.
Yeah, I agree with that.
By the moneyed interests coming in and be like, oh, you guys can actually make some money, so let's do that and ruin all these games, But before that, we didn't have the capability to ruin them because the internet wasn't like a part of the experience yet for the most part, So that was the last generation that was truly a pure gaming experience too. That's another reason I still consider it the best. So that's my answer.
No, you're right. Yeah, I 100% agree with that, because that's why what you said when it became corporate. That's why I can't give 360 and PS3 that gen, because we had that weird era as well where they were like boycotting used games. You had to get an online.
2011. Yeah, you need a pass to play multiplayer. You fucking scrub. Our multiplayer is so good, you're gonna buy the game new to play it,
And if you buy it used, you're gonna pay an extra $10 to unlock the multiplayer for it. So yeah,
I just can't. They made off that.
It couldn't have been that much because they got rid of it really fast. Yeah,
because they got rid of it real quick.
But yeah, I agree with you, because I just remember playing on the OG Xbox, playing with my dad. Me, my dad, and my brother would just rotate playing like Dead or Alive with each other. Have little tournaments and everything like that. We played Dead or Alive 2. We used to go like 100 matches.
Oh yeah,
on Dead or Alive 2. It was just crazy. We used to do the same thing with Soul Calibur.
Yeah,
All those games. Like I was really into fighting games at that time, and I wasn't even going to tournaments. I was just playing with my family. So
it was Mario Party for us, and there were many days where we almost came to blows over Mario Party because I was like 13, or 14 or 12 or whatever age I was, and I'm playing a game, I'm playing Mario Party, which is like, one of the most luck-based games out there. It's like, oftentimes 4 people of equal skill, the chances of any of them winning are pretty up in the air for the most part. But dude, when I tell you I dominated Mario Party, and my brother and my dad would just get so fucking mad because they're like, how are you winning like this every time? It's like, how can you be this lucky where I'll just like land on the perfect space to like get me a star or something, or I'll like win all the bonus stars and like win the game at the end, even though I was behind the whole game. Like it's just shit like that, man. It was so fucking funny to me. It was the funniest shit. They get so upset too. My brother would get so mad. And he'd just walk out. He'd just be like, fuck this stupid fucking game. Man, I miss Mario Party, dude. Shit was fun as hell. It'd be funny too because I get to boo, and I'm competitive, right? So I'm gonna do whatever's optimal. So I'd get to boo, and I'd steal a star from one of them, and they get super mad at me, and I'm like, I'm just playing the game, dude. Like if you had boo, like if you got to boo and you had 50 coins, you'd steal a star from me, motherfucker. Like, why is it like bad that I'm doing it? Like, it's just, I don't know. It's like. So, I don't know. It's good times. Classic times for me. Classic, man. Mario Party. That's classic right there. Uncharted. Man, get out of here with that shit. You need better taste in games if you think Uncharted is a classic. I'm sorry. All right. You got anything else you want to add, Montrell, before we go today?
Nope. That was it. I think we stretched it out a little bit. You did a good job.
No, it was a good discussion, man.
Our energy went back up. Thanks, dude. That was a good question.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, thank you, man. That was a great question, dude. You got us talking. That was like a 30-minute answer too. Shit.
Yeah.
I hope I hope you're satisfied. All right. Well, if you guys like this episode, please like the episode, review the show, subscribe to the show on whatever feed you're listening to it on, and please share it with your friends. If you'd like to interact with us on Twitter, you can do so at iTrep for the Hokage. For Montrell, that's the number 4, not the word. I'm at ThunderNut01, and the show is at The Player's Take. If you'd like to send us a question, you can do so on Twitter, or you can send us an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com, just like that dude did. And maybe we'll talk about your question for 30 minutes, too. Yeah, that's it for us, guys. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you next week. Bye.